I did it. I remembered to actually set the automatic go to next scene so I don't have to panic and look flustered when I first jump into the show. I'm learning. We're all learning. That is the point and the fun of this show. If you are new here, welcome to Meet the Ecamm Fam. I am Katie Fox, the Director of Marketing at Ecamm, and this is the show where we introduce you to some of the coolest people in the fam, all of the people who use the link in the description and jump on this show to tell me all about the cool things that they are creating using Ecamm and all of the amazing things that you can be doing as well. So hopefully everyone is ready to shake it off and have a little bit of fun today. I am incredibly delighted because I have known Jeff now for, I don't even, it feels like forever, and yet only a small amount of time. Jeff is one of my absolute favorite people. He is the person that will always go above and beyond to make sure that you are seeing success. He's welcoming and inclusive, and he works at one of the coolest tools for Instagram that I have seen in a long time. So we're going to talk all about him, all about his journey. He's a podcaster, he's a content creator himself, and all about Stampede Social and some of my experiences and his experiences in creating really engaging Instagram experiences. That's a lot of experiences, but hey, you know. But first off, let's welcome everyone here. I've seen a lot of people jumping on. I know Lala is hanging out with us, and Val and Paul, Luis, Jeremy. We have Saeed, who is multi-streaming. Oh no, who am I competing against today, Saeed? I have George hanging out. Everyone is here. And if you're catching us later in the replay, don't feel left out. You can always drop those questions and comments, and we circle back and answer every question and comment that we see. So definitely feel free to drop those in. Yay! Oh my! No one has commented yet on my mushroom background, so I feel like you are all still waking up a little bit here at an early morning. But without further ado, welcome to Jeff. Thanks for hanging out with me today, Jeff.
Hi, Katie. Nice to meet you for the very first time. You seem like a very lovely person. I am.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
just
gonna
kidding.
get silly today. It's gonna get silly today. I know, and I love that because I need a silly day. So I'm thrilled that you are here to be silly with me. Are there any portobello mushrooms? Maybe. I'd have to like really go through the details of it. Let's go with yes. There are some back there. I lost my shelf earlier today. I had a shelf behind me. Now I just have like awkward command strips that I need to remove. It's my own fault for command stripping up a shelf, but
oh, those can be dangerous. I never trust them. Like if it's 20 pounds, I'll always go with the 100-pound. I'm like, I need it to be, it's how do they even, it's no. Yeah, command strips are the most. Anyway, this episode brought to you by Doc Pops. Go
We're we're
docmerch.com.
popping. We're popping. Dot
Right.
it's docpops popps.com, I think,
You
if you
can
can.
choose your
Yeah.
color, but never choose less sound. What? I don't know. I should have worked on that beforehand. I was all ready, but definitely get your dot pops. See how great we sound? Oh,
We're great. Yeah, we're great.
we sound so good. No, watch this. Watch this.
It's
Nothing. It
perfect.
worked. It
Yeah.
like it took that in and like yeah.
No plosives. I'm scared to
No,
even say that word. No plosives.
please
Oh,
point prettily. Let's just only talk with p words.
we
The
can only talk
I,
with P words. Well, you know what?
uh,
On the topic of P words, I want to talk about podcasting, a P word, because you've been doing it for a really long time and you're pretty darn successful at it. So, why don't we start with how you got into podcasting, because you came from a comedy background. So, like, what was that journey? How did you go from comedian into podcasting and kind of the expansion past that?
yeah. So I'm a professional stand up comic, and I did that for 20 some years. And during that time, I was also really into Twitter, and before I became obsessed with Instagram that I am now. But back then, I was really into Twitter, and my tweets would go viral all the time, like all the time. Like I was in there was a Sharknado tweet that I had that blew up, and then the CNN used it to promote the next movie. I mean, it was like I've been in every major
Holy cow, I didn't
publication
know
with my
that.
tweet. Yeah, but like my tweets have been everywhere, and like it was a fun ride. And so originally I was going to start a podcast called Viral Intentions. This is
Oh, I like that.
2017. 2017, I was going to like, oh, this is great. I'm a social media guy. I'm going to talk about social media and going viral, viral intentions, a cute play on the movie Cruel
Oh, I
Intentions,
know.
and going viral. This is going to be the greatest thing ever. Except that for many of you who have started a podcast, you know, wow, that is the hardest thing is just starting. Hardest thing. So
Mhm.
flash forward 2020, my soundboard is now in a box. I, I have my intro, my outro, my art, all courtesy of the fabulous people that helped me do that. And oof, I just never did it. And then now it's the pandemic, and now I have time, and I'm like, ooh, I'm going to start it now. And then I realized, oh my God, it's a pandemic. People are dying. I cannot launch a podcast called Viral Intentions.
Oh, yeah, that would be
Yeah.
bad. That would be a bad name, which is a shame because it's a great name. I
Great
feel
name.
like yeah.
Great name. And it was a bummer. But like, yeah, so it was just the timing was really bad. And so I scrapped it. I became the Jeff Dwoskin show, and then it became the Jeff Dwoskin Comedy Show, live from Detroit, the Jeff Dwoskin Show. And then years ago, it became Classic Conversations, which is what it really always was at its heart. I just didn't know it at the time. Sometimes you got to reflect on your own show. And so years ago, it became Classic Conversations, which is really what it was the whole time. It was just conversations with folks. So I ended up pivoting and not going the social media route. And I realized, oh, these celebrities that I loved growing up will talk to me. All right, I'm all in on that. And so I just started that. And I've been doing it now for 4 years. I am nearing 350 episodes.
Wow.
And yeah, so it's really cool.
That is
So
incredible, and I love it when we say this all the time to the Ecamm fam, but it's like I love these kinds of conversations because you get to hear like people's journeys. I know that's like a really cliched, ridiculous word, but what's important in hearing that is that there there are opportunities to pivot. Things don't work. People don't end up where they are, and that was like always the plan. And they're like, you know, well, I built this plan, and then I implemented on every single part of the plan, and now here I am successful. It's the ability to understand what's working or not working, understand like when a great idea may not work because of XYZ different reasons, and being able to make those adjustments and those changes to still get to where you want to go. So I love that you were like, this is a great idea. I'm really successful here, but it didn't stop you when you hit a wall again and weren't able to implement that the way that you initially wanted to. So I think it's important for people to hear that, because especially in the video space, we're all looking into everyone's studios. And we're all like, oh, Jeff's got an awesome background. I wish that I had like my photos all behind me. I should do something like that. That'd be really clever. We're always kind of comparing ourselves and seeing someone at a point without fully understanding how they got there or what those decisions were, or what those pivots and those changes were. So I think it makes a difference to hear it. So I love that we can do that on this show. Lala says that she never intended to be a crafting channel. She wanted to do interviews. And I'm so thankful that you have a crafting channel because it's such a fun space to just be creative together. So yeah, again, like that's another example of an amazing pivot. Um,
Yeah, I always joke that if you listen to my podcast backwards, it's like, why is it getting worse? And that's really how it should be, right?
should be,
And
yeah.
so it's like,
Yeah.
I, I, so I had, it's important to your point to listen to people and take feedback. And
Yeah.
like some of the early episodes, by the time I would get to the interview, it would be like 7 minutes into the show because I was trying to be clever and do things and I
Mhm.
enjoyed it. I'd make a fake commercial, real meta stuff, like where I would make a commercial based on my guest,
Oh, fun.
so
Yeah.
and like this one person was in a movie called Chopping Mall and Kelly Maroney, and so she blew up the robot in a paint store. So at the beginning of the show, my sponsor was that paint store. Like I would watch and I would look it up, and then I look and I would do it, but I never called it out. I never said that. And it was like in my head, I was like, oh, the Criterion Collection of the Jeff Dwoskin Show will go very deep and it'll uncover all these Easter eggs that I have done. And then I always assumed people would listen to my show episode to episode to episode, and that was also not
Not
true.
the case. Yeah.
Not the
Yeah.
case. And especially with like my type of show where people pick and choose who
Yeah.
they
Based
might
on the
listen
guest.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then my always hope was like, oh, well, if you really like that one, you'll still like the other ones, because you got to trust me while you're on this path and this journey with me. Trust me that the person you don't know is likely actually more interesting than the
Then,
person
yeah.
you do know, because their whole story is different and you wouldn't have expected to hear that.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's, but I did get good feedback, like I went into this, I was part of this network and I wasn't getting ads, and they're like, well, a few issues. What? They're like, well, live from Detroit, the Jeff Dwoskin Show. Are you focused only on Detroit? No. Are you a live show? No. uh who the f is Jeff Dwoskin? Talk about like putting our face and our name in our show. It's like it doesn't mean anything if it doesn't mean anything. And so that's why I ended up changing it to Classic Conversations, and still not going anywhere. But like but though it was still good feedback. Still good feedback.
No,
And
it's
so
great.
yeah.
It's great feedback. And I love your comment about listening or watching a show backwards because it is so true. I even think about like my own, behavior as a user. It's like I find a podcast that I absolutely love, and then I actually do for the most part like binge watch or listen to it all the way through, and it always cracks me up when I get to that like OG first episode, and it always does sound completely awful. Like one of my favorite shows is this true crime show where the hosts are from this area, so it's very New England and ridiculous. But we got back to like their early episodes, and they joke that like they sound underwater because they had incredibly cheap microphones, or maybe even no microphones at all. And they're like, their starting point was a starting point, like what was the same as everyone else's starting point, where you don't start with everything and all of the skills. You start with grit and and a willingness and a good idea, and you just go, and then you get a little bit better every single time. So it's a good reminder for us all as we all overthink it and are total perfectionists about it all.
When I got to the first point where I had to put ad markers in and I had to go back and add ad markers in for the first time, I was listening to my first few episodes, and I called up the people that I had originally shared it with, and I said, "What the? What? You thought this was good?"
Like, I have some feedback for you. This was not good.
And I'm like, "What?" Because it's so funny listening to the first few episodes where I think in my head I'm free and fun and having a good, and like I wasn't. I think I was trying to be, but like not like I later became, where
Yeah.
you're just so comfortable, and it's like I was like, because I was editing. I was like, all the things that I hated were in those first few episodes, and I remastered them. like like I hate when people go,
Mm.
you know,
I'm still
like
trying to figure out a better way to avoid the ums and the ands and the buts and all the filler words. I forget now which filler words I say often, but the act of looking at them in Descript, like actually like seeing my words all the way through, I was like, oh no, there was like a ton of things that I said often that you could just immediately see. And then the longer that you do it, the more, at least for me, the more I was like, it doesn't really matter as much as it feels like it does. Most of my shows and the content I'm creating is meant to be conversational and helpful and, you know, low key versus like very super buttoned up and professional. So I'm trying to embrace it. I know I just said
well,
like about 7 times in that paragraph.
right.
So
The script will have a field day on
Descript is
this
gonna
one.
have a field day.
No, but like, I think, well, I believe that there is a distinct difference between the verbal stutters or anything that we do when someone's watching us live, like we are right now. Like I
Yeah,
could cough, the dog could bark. And if you're watching, you probably, because you're processing it visually and with your ears, you can accept it a little bit more. You don't
true.
hear the deep breaths, you don't hear any of that. But if you're listening to something that's audio only, I think the rules are different. I think the game is different. And to just take something that was live and drop it into audio only, I think you're doing a disservice to their ears because there's probably a good 5 to 10 minutes of baggage, repeated words, ums, deep breaths, things like that, dog barks, all those things
Yeah.
that should be taken out if it's audio only. Things that if you're driving are jarring and things like that. That again, if you're visually watching us right now, you don't notice even. And so that to me is why I focus on the audio and sometimes try and do video also because I think it's different. You can adjust things differently too. Like if we talk over each other, you can't really fix that on video, but in audio you can adjust those timelines, and then it becomes more of a conversation that's easier to listen to.
Yeah.
That's a lot of the things I do that I'm sure no one notices or cares about.
This group does because we know how difficult editing
I
and really thinking through the A to Z of content is. So you're in a safe space for that.
well, if I'm doing an interview and I can take 10 minutes out of an interview and I didn't remove any content other than people were doing the repeat of words type thing, or the ums, or like the things like that where it just the unnecessary long pauses and things like that. I think it does help retention, even though it's one of those subconscious things you can't prove a negative, but I think it does help. I think it does help.
Yeah.
Sound is like the hardest thing. Like I always say, like it's as best as I could have done at that.
Absolutely. Our Luis, who edits our podcast, is like, absolutely preach. So
Yeah.
very true. Well, I do want to talk a little bit about Stampede Social because you and I have been working together on helping me get it built in and connected and using it more both on Ecamm's channels as well as for my podcast, the VHS Club. So, how did uh, for those, I guess let's start with for those who have no idea what Stampede is, can you walk us through what it is and how it works, and then tell us a little bit about how you started it or got involved in Stampede?
Sure. So Stampede Social is a social selling and engagement tool for Instagram and Facebook. And it's meant to be a series of tools for you that you can run multiple different types of campaigns using one platform that then all work together, and then the data then also can inform you together versus using a bunch of different programs. So this includes running post level giveaways on your posts or your reels or Instagram live events, or tracking fan user generated content, or DM automation to drive trackable and attributable links to your fans' DMs so that you can engage with them 24/7. And so that empowers you on Instagram and Facebook to always be learning and not having to make the choices of, well, I don't have time to engage with this other software, et cetera, so that you can do what you need to do it easily, and, and basically reap the rewards, and then let your fans reap the rewards also, because they can request information from you. They can get what they want without you having waiting to, without waiting for you to wake up in the morning to respond. So
Yeah. And it's really nice because it connects so immediately. Like equally love it as a fan as much as a user of it. Literally just yesterday I was chatting back and forth with Mary Lou Mandel because we had just brought her on to the flow, and she is a Stampede Social user, and she was talking about a workshop that she was doing that I was really interested in. But yesterday was my daughter's birthday. I had a bunch of stuff going on, and she had this note in her description that was like, I forget what the word was, but it was like comment, you know, CapCut workshop or whatever it was, and I'll send you the link for it. And I was like, perfect, because not only does it immediately give me the link for it, but it also creates this like wonderful record of it in my DMs. So like I didn't have time to watch the workshop yesterday. I sent her like a note quickly that was like, "Hey, I'm going to catch this later. I'll catch it in the replay." But I had the link. So today I can just literally go back into my Instagram. I know where that conversation is, grab the link, go over, and it allowed her to follow back up with me. Like it was an automated process. I commented the word, Stampede Social sent me the direct link for the workshop, and then I commented back to her in the DM, "Hey, Mary Lou, I'm so sorry I can't make this live, but I'm going to catch the replay. Like, thanks again for being on the flow." She replied back, right? So it helps kind of, as you said, it kind of make this immediate connection back and forth with your customer. You're giving them exactly what they need and what they ask for, rather than just posting a link at them all the time.
right.
And you're creating, in the same way that emailing back and forth with a customer it creates that connection. You now are in their inbox, and you have a connection point, and you have references back and forth. So it's not just in the feed lost forever, or in the Instagram, save post section along with 85 million things you've saved. It's this entire conversation back and forth that you can have with a business, with an influencer, and then on our side with your customers. So I really do think it's special in a lot of different ways. So congratulations for really creating a tool that works on a number of different levels. And I feel like I'm always finding something new within it. So it's great from that end for sure.
Yeah, I bless you and happy birthday to your daughter.
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
love kind of just creating tools and then features on features. So there's like a lot of like little hidden features, to the point where I had to create a full kind of tutorial that you can go through, and it kind of explains all of them in
I
like
laugh
3 minutes.
because there's it's so true for hidden features, and Ecamm is equally bad for this. I love that you've been so kind to me where I'm like, I know you said that I could do this, and I think I'm in the right spot, but I've done this thing and I think it's wrong, and you're like, nope, this way, and then you update, which is just fantastic. Again, with the like responsiveness and understanding, like, oh, Katie's mind saw it this way, so so maybe we need to make a change here or pull it out in a different way. It's a That's a special thing for any kind of software, and I think Ecamm certainly has it, and Stampede definitely has it as well. So shout out to you there.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, it's sort of like how my brain works. So it's like, when someone says, from being like a comedian, it's like kind of that way as well. It's like you have to kind of see the world in a different way. And I build my world one way. And when people engage and they say, "Oh, blah, blah, blah," I'm like, "Oh, you're right. That is another way to look at this." What I mean? So you have to like kind of come at it, like the best way to really understand something is to let 100 people use it, and you'll probably get 50 different people having different ways that they can leverage it, which
Yep.
is exciting to me actually, because then it's another way to learn and then promote the tool as such. So like
Yeah.
one of the things that Mary Lou did, and she's awesome. This is my business card, but she, I think, went to Creator Camp, and she had
Yeah.
something with a QR code on it,
Yeah.
which you can't really see because it's so small, but like in this video. But so I put a QR code on my business cards. I have shirts with it too if I go to a trade show.
I love the QR code shirts. I think that's such a clever thing to do.
Well, but then you ask them to DM us. So what that QR code does is open up my Instagram DM. I
Yes.
use it from stage when I speak as well.
Mhm.
So it's a real clever way to drive people into your DMs right there. Even if they don't click on the link, they're now a lead. They're in your DM. So
Yeah.
it's just a way to get them to engage with you. And so, and then, hopefully they do click and do whatever you need them to do. But now I can also follow up. But
Yep.
it's a way to use the technology from outside of Instagram as well.
Yeah,
So
I wanted to share a story about this because, and I will share like the full graphics and even some of the responses, etc., in a separate post online later because I owe it to Jeff and to all of you to be able to understand like how cool this is. So Doc spoke at Podcast Summit in July. It was an event in Atlanta, and we were in the middle of building out our new podcast course, so which is free and available to everyone, and you just drop in your email for it. And so Jeff came up with this fantastic idea where he said exactly what he just said. He was like, you could totally just add a QR code to Doc's presentation, and then people will be able to get information about your podcast course. So Doc did just that. He was up on the stage speaking. Doc and Caleb were at the event along with a few of our other awesome Ecamm Fam members. And I was back in the office at home. And you could tell the second that Doc finished his presentation because our Instagram DMs were like just going crazy. It was like podcast course, podcast course, podcast course, podcast course. I think, within 10 minutes of Doc finishing, we had at least 60, if not 100 different people messaging and wanting more information about our podcast course because again, it was free, available to everyone. It was relevant to the content he had just spoken about. But it allowed me from back home, not attending this event, to follow back up with everyone. So again, Stampede automatically just sent the link so that they could register for the course, which almost all of them did, which is incredible. But then I was also able to follow up and just say, "Hey, it was so great to have met you at the event. Thanks so much, for everything." And pretend to be Doc, which I suppose is somewhat disingenuous, but hey, the team is here. It was great to have met you. Be sure to swing by and check us out, because we had built this entire podcast recording space at that event. So it allowed me to like immediately follow up with someone who's already on their phone. Like they're sitting in the session, they had scanned it, they'd engaged with that content, and the immediacy was incredible. Like, so it's not like later after they're feeling overwhelmed and they have their mind reeling with all this content that they've just learned at this event, maybe they remember us and go back through their notes and find that link. It was right then they've taken action. We've immediately responded. And now we've built a conversation and a relationship. And so and again, like almost I should look through to figure out the exact percentage, but it was a remarkably high percentage of people who answered back. So like I replied back and was like, "Here's some additional information. Come and find us here." And they were like, "It's such a great presentation. I really love being able to meet you." Or like they responded back with additional feedback and content, and we were able to follow up with them. And I can now go back into our inbox at any point and reach out to any of those people. I can add extra notes from that conversation into our email system. It really matters from for a company like ours where we care a lot about building not just a customer base but a community of people that we can work with and support and highlight and feature. I think it makes a really big difference. So I just wanted to say that because that was like one of those we've tried now I think almost all aspects of Stampede, but that one in particular I was like immediate and incredible in how effective it was. So it's now, a standard thing that we will do in every single event going forward is always have, that QR code or that call to action at the end of a presentation, which is so much more impactful than, grab my meeting notes later. Okay, like, now that you've learned all about podcasting, jump into our free course and let us show you how Ecamm can help you with your podcast. Like that's just a really easy win for us.
yeah, it's an amazing kind of way to approach it because the issue with sending people with a QR code just to your website, if I just send people to docmerch.com to get their doc pops, I have no idea who actually went to Doc
Yeah.
Merch because they scan the QR code and they go to the web page. It opens up a browser on their phone, and then they're like, ah. And if you're at a conference, it becomes at some point the 10th browser that you've opened up because they all do that. And then
Yeah.
at some point you go in and go close, 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 close. And so, but if yeah, you can get them in there in the DM, then boom, it's a whole different story. And yeah, we try and make it real easy to do that. People are always like, "Well, there's other things that do that." And I'm like, "Yes, but we we make it extremely simple, straightforward, and we kind of remove the need to have a PhD to set up flows or to hire a consultant to do it for you." And
Yeah.
flow, we just it that is just which has always been how I've approached everything I've ever done is like just make it easy. Just get it, let it do what it needs to do, and don't over engineer everything. And so, like the reason, Katie, you probably saw, so it's just like, hey, you asked for this, here it is. You know what I mean? It's not like, it's not like you're now trying to overly sell them again in the DMs, which I think is a turnoff as well. So,
Yeah,
it
you're right. I think that there actually is something in this because I think many of us, and myself definitely included, it feels slimy to be sold at. And so you never really want to be the person that is like selling at someone, right? And so whether you're speaking or you're doing, a social post or you're running a live show or a podcast or whatever it is, it's a much it's a much easier, friendlier, nicer feeling to say, "Hey, if you want this, here's how you can get it." Versus like, "Please do this, please do this, please do this, buy this, come here, do these," and it's again like the the simplicity of it is makes it also easier for the person on the other side at like and I will say this too, and I believe it's Stampede, but I guess I can't say with 100% certainty, but I'm really guilty of this from a Amazon shoppable like standpoint as well, because often I probably like many of you I'm multitasking. I'm like watching a movie and I'm also have my phone and I'm scrolling and I'll see like a reel that has like a really cool product in it, and I'm always guilty of like wanting to buy cool things for my house, right? So I'm like building out and updating my library, and I'm like, "Oh, I like want this," and I bet you that it's on Amazon, but like there's no Instagram does not make it easy for there to be any kind of link, and I'm like, "I want to buy this." Like right now, or at least add it to my like Amazon wish list where I can, grab it or buy it later. And almost all of them these days are like, comment like kitchen finds, and I'll send you my entire like list with all my Amazon links of everything that you see in this video. And I again love that because as a person that's doing way too much all the time, it saves the record of that conversation in a really easy place for me to find it. So like I can click right through, add it to my wish list or buy it. Or if I'm like, oh shoot, I need to run and do something else, it's in my again, it's in my Instagram inbox. So it's really easy to be able to grab it later. So it's yeah, as Eden says, Instagram is really obnoxious with links, and so is Facebook. Like they even on Facebook where you can share links, they deprioritize showing those posts to people. So it does make a really big difference. Even if you think you might be doing it in a way that's engaging, you're probably not.
exactly, that is 100% true. So,
Which is annoying. I like as I'm
yeah.
I'm I'm still trying to get better at it myself, both, personally and professionally. But the posts that do the best are the ones where there's no link, there's no sale. You're allowing people to figure out whether or not they want to do that for themselves. So you're giving the control back to your customers, to your followers, to your people, which I think is important, really. And so I'm trying to transition away um from the hard sell or the, just the links coming at you all the time.
Right. There's a question from said though.
Yeah, Saeed says,
So
yeah.
I'm sorry.
No,
Sorry.
you're fine.
Um, hey, bye. Um, the thing with links, if you think about the link in bio, or if you think about just even the link sticker for stories,
Mhm.
I think if you pay, you can maybe put links in one reel or something like that for Instagram if you're a
Yep.
business. The the Stampede, where our point of view is that the reason you don't use those and you create the automation is the link that we create. one of the things that Stampede Socials is different than other automation tools is that the link that gets sent to say Katie is a
Mhm.
unique version of the link. So we create under that button a unique version. So in your database, I sent this link to Katie because she wrote in CapCut and she responded to this post or reel, or this was a direct DM. And I know if she clicked on it, I know how many
Yep.
times she clicked on it. And then over time, say 6 months from now, a year from now, I know now how many times Katie has engaged with my content through comments, how many pieces of content she's requested specifically, and I can run reports on that. And so you start to really understand who your top fans are and what they're saying and what they're doing and how they're engaging with you. And that's a whole different layer of data that you can then take advantage of
Yep.
and start to really understand from.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so it's the true attribution then that you can really kind of use to drive back from any links or registrations,
Yeah.
which is I think it's pretty cool.
I think that, yeah, being like, I think having access and a good understanding of what kind of responses your content is giving is huge. And there's so many different places that you can capture analytics, but they're almost never a complete like vision of what you're doing. Like it's like I need to pull it from this one place and then I need to go over here and pull it from here and and it's never really the right thing that you need to be actually be looking at. So I will say that if you are using Stampede, it is giving you the picture that you actually need to see that you can take action on. So because it has because it's tracking all of the metrics on those specific links, it also allows you to create auto responses and have auto responses back. So it gives you kind of an entire picture of what you are doing on Instagram and on Facebook. And that's really helpful because, again, Meta does not make this easy. It's always updating and changing and putting the information in different places and giving you like some of the picture and not all of the picture, and and deprioritizing things. And so having like reliable information that helps you to make decisions is really important. So I think it makes a really big difference. Yeah,
Yeah,
Edie's
and we're
saying
we're and
commenting
we're
on a post
building
and
out.
getting resources
Oh,
is
wait, wait, I
important.
love being on the comment about.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, so do I. The other thing we're building out because we want to be, we're creator first. We love to, and that's one of the things as well is that, and so we've been building out modules so that you can connect. You can connect and get your YouTube stats, Threads stats, TikTok post stats.
Yep.
So things that you would normally need to probably have a Sprout Social or something and pay like $250 a month to have easy access to those things. We're building out modules that we're going to be rolling out to add in. Um,
Yeah.
and so, because we want people to have a full understanding. And then our focus moving forward is a lot going to be on how can we use that data to help you be better
Yep.
and more informed based on your own data. So, yeah, so it's an exciting path ahead. Sometimes it's boring to talk about data, but the data is,
It's never it should
truth,
never be boring. Yeah.
truth is in the data. Truth
Mhm.
is in the data. So,
Yeah, it absolutely is. And so again, just so everyone kind of gets a good understanding of what this tool does. So we talked about comments. Let's talk a little bit about giveaways because sneak peek slash teaser for everyone that's watching here. We have a really huge giveaway launching on Friday. So right now we are Wednesday, November 6th. So Friday, November 8th is a giant giveaway starting to we can kick off the holiday season in style. We will be using Stampede for all of it. So Jeff, how do people set up giveaways? What does Stampede do to help with a giveaway?
uh, great question. Thank you. So yeah, one of the things like when I was early on, like we would do things. I was in the marketing department with Little Caesars, and we would kind of put things in motion. That was what we'd do all these things like, oh, user generated content. Hey, everybody, post your thing and use this hashtag and tag us. But then there was no good way to collect that
Yeah.
information. Or we're going to do a giveaway, but there was no way to do it once you started it. There was no good way to
To like
actually
track it and finish it. Yeah.
yeah. And so we actually just rolled out a bunch of blogs on giveaways
Yeah.
and so the one of the unique things about Stampede Social, and one of the ways that we then use that for giveaways is we collect all the top line comments to any post or reel or live event. And so that is in your database then, and you can download that. Certain plans have AI tools that'll then actually just analyze that for you. Click a button and it'll analyze those comments for you. It's a great way to get at the data in a different
Mhm.
way. You can create conversations. It's sort of the opposite of social listening, where you're just randomly listening for things. You can start conversations knowing that you can have the data available. And
Mhm.
so then that can give you other content ideas, really cool stuff. So, one of the things with a giveaway is you can say comment below to enter, right? You can tell people to tag friends and do whatever. I mean, honestly, don't go too crazy because
Keep it simple.
it's
Yeah.
it's it's like it's just anyway. So but because we're collecting all those comments, we have a winner selection tool built in to the interface. So when you're ready, you just click that and you say, how many times could I let Katie enter? One time, 10 times, as many times as she commented, whatever it might be. Did we ask them to, use a fire emoji? I don't know, whatever it is. And then you just click a button. It'll dedupe your database. If you have 100 comments, it'll dedupe it down to whatever it should be, 85. It'll then randomize it 5 times. And then you have a top down list that you can download. Top down means the first person is the winner, unless you determine that that person actually wasn't qualified for per the rules or whatever.
Yeah.
Then you just go to the next person and the next person. And so that may the normal process, well, I say normal would be you'd somehow get all that, go to randomizer.org,
Mhm.
pick a
Been there.
number, and then
Yep.
it goes and does it. Scrambling it 5 times is basically the equivalent of doing that. You can still, if you want, go to randomizer.org, whatever makes you feel comfortable. But this also gives you a real good um, kind of history of how you pick the winner.
Yeah.
And it's always important, I'll say. I'm not a lawyer, but take this as guidance is the when you do a giveaway, it is a legal thing
Yes.
that you're
Yep.
doing, right? And there
Mhm.
are laws about it. And so like if you're doing something in the United States, you might want to say 18 and above, you might and abbreviated rules, and you're supposed to have full rules, talk to your lawyers. And
Mhm.
so, but the reason you limit it to the United States is that $5 squishmallow that you're giving away is going to cost $500 to send to the UK. Do you
Yep.
want to do that?
Yeah.
If not, limit it to the United States, right?
Mhm.
Then if there's different depending on your prize levels. I know a little bit. I was in the promotion industry for 6 years. So depending on your prize levels, certain states you might have to have bonds, so like you have to know what you're doing.
Yep.
And the bigger you are, you
Yeah.
know, the don't try and get away with it, so I'm not saying ever try and get away with it, but definitely, if you're like, they're not going to go after you, likely if you're not, small. Anyway, that's for you to decide with your legal team. But like, anyway, so yeah, so then, yeah, you just pick the winner. This is a long answer.
No, it's
Sorry.
good.
Yeah.
It actually answers
You can,
Said's question about like GDPR and all, yeah. So like you really should absolutely be running if you, especially if you are a larger, business or working with a different brand, you definitely should be checking with a lawyer on all of this because you're right. I was amazed at some of the rules and some of the, checking for bonds. And as you were saying, like some different states, state by state, have very different rules on like the prize value and what's possible. So, but this, I will say, from a logistical standpoint, this tool allows it to be much easier to facilitate a giveaway in a really easy way, as well as choose winners and track everything so that you have a record of everything, what worked, what didn't work. You can make those decisions for going forward.
right. And I mean, if it's in the USA, that, that eliminates, some of the issues you might have with Canada, where you have to, if it's open in Quebec, it has to be in French, or,
Hmm.
I mean, like there's certain kind of thing in Puerto Rico, you have to run an ad. I mean, there's like,
Yeah.
there's just a lot of things to consider. I think a lot of people do it willy nilly and don't even understand how deep it is in terms
Yeah.
of the legal giveaway. So
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we covered giveaways, we covered just posts and DMs. What am I missing? We covered using it at conferences and events.
So one thing that like I'll use doc pops again because we can't talk about doc enough with these doc pops. But if you use like for example, if you buy this, and I did it, and you use the hashtag doc pops, and then
Hmm.
you at his account,
Yep.
it'll pull into his database. So because he's tracking that hashtag, he's tracking that campaign. So anyone who posts, "Hey, I love this thing," he can now see it very easily, and
Hmm.
that's something you can do very purposely. I think you guys did a campaign like that.
We did, yeah. We've done a
Yeah,
few campaigns where, yeah, it's just basically just like pulling in UGC. I have,
yeah,
this
it's
is a
exactly
great,
what it is.
yeah, right. Sorry, not basically. It's exactly. So I don't know how well you guys can see this, but this is, Doc says, please don't keep Doc Pops a secret. Share them on socials. Tag Doc Pops, and then and he'll engage with you, and he does, right? So it's like literally written within the packaging, so it's very very easy for him to give that out and then be able to see the content coming through and be able to use it in different ways. So again, it's not unlike Ecamm in that it does a lot of different things, and you can use it for just a couple things. You can use it for all the different things. But I will say that once you start, once you have a tool like this, it is one of those things where like, oh, I could probably use it for this. Oh, I could probably use it for like. So the giveaway we're doing, sneak peek for everyone. But I wanted to give this as an example. We're doing a giveaway. We're actually using a tool called Gleam to manage the giveaways. We're not using Stampede for the giveaway functionality because we're trying to build our email list. So one of the actions is to join our email to be able to enter the giveaway. But Gleam has the concept of a secret word. So we were talking, we were like, oh, well, we could totally use the secret word as the, comment the secret word where we give it out at the end of one of our Instagram reels. And then people would be DM'd automatically through Stampede the link to the giveaway where they can enter everything, and then they can pull that secret word in and get the double the points. So and then we're tracking all of the engagement on those Instagram reels and seeing how many of our contest entrants are coming through from our efforts on Instagram versus email and all the different other channels. So it, even in the case where it's it's not the main tool that we're using, it's still insanely helpful and simplifies and solves a problem. So I think it's great to really think about what tools you're using and how they work together and what the potential is, and really like think through what you need and what you might need, going forward, because I know many of you, like Matt was saying, are doing giveaways in your streams or could benefit from having a QR code, in like a lower third at the bottom of your stream that, that automatically sends a link so they join your email list, or see your full show schedule. We do that for our Ecamm show schedule every single week with our newsletter. So there's a lot of opportunity here to be able to do a lot of really cool things because video doesn't allow you to click a link, right? Like I can't post a link in this video and have you be able to click it. So I either need to have, I need to have a team member in the chat sharing the link there and hoping that you all click it. Or if I'd been really smart before the stream, I would have dropped a QR code in here and said, "Hey, let's all test that out," right? So there's lots and lots of options there, I think.
So you bring up a good point, and with the Gleam example, is that Stampede Social is sort of the bridge to get you where you need to go.
It totally is.
We have the winner selection tools built in, so if you're running that type of giveaway,
Yeah.
we understand you may not run that type of giveaway or have different needs at different times.
Yep.
Still, as you described, helpful because now we can get them to that,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So like if you're using audiograms, Wave or Headliner, right? And that gets their attention, but you still have to get them to the episode, your podcast episode or your YouTube
Hmm.
video, anything like that. That's where Stampede comes in. Comment below and we'll get you to it. It's sort of like that middle piece that's missing that just helps bridge the gap. You're using Opus Clips or any of those, it just it just sits there and like says, okay, we got your attention. Now we're going to help you get to the actual thing. And so, and then you can start to understand exactly how popular those things were, because we're collecting all the data for you in a very unique way. But we want to be extremely complementary. You can do a lot of things just as is, but then we're also very complementary to always be part of the party, I guess. Depending, because I just you don't have to run a giveaway the way we say to do it, but a lot of people do it that way.
Yeah.
And then if you run, and then sometimes you're going to do it a different way, and so it's fine. You still got to get them to it. You create a lead magnet. You got to get them to the lead magnet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like all those things. So it's meant to really kind of just sit there and be what you need it to be when you need it to be it. And then it's also being things along the way that are extremely helpful as is. So
Yeah.
thank you for pointing that out.
Of course. And Eden's giving you love on your recording space. I know every time that I'm on a show with Jeff or even just chatting, I love that. Like I'm very jealous of your backgrounds. I'm always like, oh, I should put movie covers behind. I'm always wanting to redo my studio space. I'm like, oh, I should get rid of mushrooms and put movie covers behind me.
I if you want to hang on one second, my whole wall is covered in these. If you want to see real quick, here, watch. There's boom, look at that.
It's so crazy.
It goes all the way around.
I love it. What a fun space. I That is fantastic.
Yes.
Like,
And isn't it crazy? I have a preset on my camera just for when people go, ooh, I go, ooh, yeah.
there you go. Wow. Wow.
Wow. Yes. So
Oh my gosh. Well, the one thing we didn't cover, but I'm going to link through so that you can watch because we have done a couple of videos with Jeff about this, but there is a lot too that you can do with Instagram Live as well. So, and Stephanie, who we work with often, has done a lot of really cool things in that space and has used Stampede for it. So, we will certainly link through so that people can find those resources afterwards. But yeah, again, like lots and lots of opportunities. But I urge you, and I'm on this mission. I keep saying that I'm on this mission throughout this year, and I feel like I'm winning so far. But I'm like, just start small. Like I with Stampede, I just started small. I was like, hey, you know what? I'm just gonna solve this bridge problem where I have these like shows that I'm doing or newsletter I want someone to sign up for, these things I want people to do. So I'm gonna just start with comment this word, jump over there. And sometimes those ones perform really well. Other times I've missed the mark and the copy isn't great or what for whatever reason, I get crickets on them and that's fine. And then I was like, "Oh, giveaways. I can do that." We do a lot of giveaways at Ecamm and I start because the more that you just try and see if it solves a problem, and this goes for any tool. I'm not speaking even specifically about Stampede, but the more you try and play with some of these tools and force yourself to see if they work well for you, you're also gaining confidence in them. You're seeing what works and doesn't work. It gives you a good understanding of what you need in your toolkit in order to be successful and get you to those results and to those goals that you're trying to hit. So this is a great example of a tool that is like really easy to start really simply and say, oh, that worked. Okay, I'm going to build that into my workflow. And now I'm going to test out this other aspect. Oh, that worked. I'm going to add that to my workflow and kind of build and grow that way. And again, you have, a team behind you that can give you advice. There's lots of resources. Jeff is like incredibly available. Jeff is like me, way too available. Jeff personally emails me and is like, "Oh, you should do this instead. You tried this and this actually would work better." So you do have a team behind you to help you make those adjustments and take the feedback, if you've noticed something that could work differently or better. And that goes for both Ecamm and Stampede, but give it a try. We're here in the time period where let's make things easier for ourselves. Let's make everything easier for ourselves.
yeah, if you guys want to check it out, you can go to stampede.social. I think they put the link in the thing in the chat. You can use Ecamm 50. You can get 50% off any plan you want. Just feel free to start off small and you can always upgrade, that kind of thing. And so, but yeah, I'd love for everyone to try it out, and
There
there
we
you
go.
go.
Haha. So,
Uh-huh.
I really failed on this because I should have the QR code. So my action item is going forward. The next step that I'm going to take in my Stampede journey is adding those. I want to create like a whole bunch of little animated lower thirds. I have them in queue with Marshall, our designer, to like just be able to just trigger when I'm on different shows that are like, learn more about ENN, trigger this, and it pops up a QR code that then, gives the link to the entire show, or find out about our sale, and like all of that could be really easily done with QR codes, and again could have Stampede acting as the bridge. So that's my takeaway. I hope you all hold me to it, because it's been on my to-do list for a while and I keep showing up in these streams and being like, shoot, I didn't do that yet. So that's my next takeaway, both personally and for Ecamm stuff. So find me and hold me accountable to all of that. Well, yeah. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So I could fancy up my QR codes. QR code monkey. All right, I'll give it a try. We have a joke here in the office that we're somewhat hesitant towards companies that have monkey or chimp in the name, but I might have to
So
do that one
many
of these days.
do, don't they?
So many do. There's so many monkey and I don't know what it is about monkeys and chimps, but people love that for company names. No, I'm just joking, Said. But yeah, that would be a fun one to check out. Well, Jeff, any final words? Well, okay, final words. But then if you don't have any, or on the other side of it, we need to know where to find you for your shows. And then also one more reminder here about Stampede Social and an incredible discount. So end of year, take advantage, please.
Yes. Well, hey, check it out, stampede.social. There's a plans and pricing page. You can use that, special for the Ecamm Fam. And then if you are interested in my podcast, jeffisfunny.com. That's the easiest way to get there. That was my old comedian website. And then I just use it for my classic conversations site. It's just easier than telling you to write classic dash conversation. Anyway, jeffisfunny.com. And
It's way easier to remember at
yeah.
jeffisfunny.com. That's perfect.
So yeah, I mean, just would love for you to check out Stampede. We're here to help. We like to say it was built by creators for creators, and we kind of build it and expand it based on that as well. I think that's one of our kind of key differentiators, is really kind of being one of the people, and really enthusiastically want to help everyone succeed. So.
Yeah. Well, that is the vibe of the Ecamm Fam. So you are always welcome here, and we're so thrilled that I'm so thrilled that I love the tool, because I feel like it would just be I would feel very sad if I really liked you as a person and then the tool was like, so this works out really well for me.
I know that's this is embarrassing.
Yeah.
I I yes, and brought to you by Doc Pops, which
Yeah, right.
also I
Yeah.
love
I know. We'll
because they're great.
expect our commission checks. I need to get some more colors. So I love my hot pink because it's like a very bright pop of color. I also have the purple, but I feel like
Ooh,
I feel like the green might be fun. I love green. So but we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, more dark pops.
I love it. It's just so much nicer than having that whole thing wrap around, and
Mhm.
I really love it. I
Yeah.
really love it.
Well,
I do.
before we totally jump off, a final reminder that you can always hang out with us, and find out about all of our shows and newsletter and all the stuff over at ecamm.com/community. QR code coming soon. You can sign up for emails. You can find out about where to engage with us on our Facebook group or our Discord server. Information about the beta program, affiliates, all the good stuff is here, along with some really great photos that we've pulled in, photos and videos from all of you incredible people. So ecamm.com/community is the place to get all of the info and learn more about everything that we're up to. And it's a lot because it's November. And if you want to join us on this show, you can always find that information again soon in a QR code, but
Oh,
right now in the
I'm gonna join again
description.
right now.
Yeah, sign up right now, Jeff. Come on next week. You'll be
I'll be here every week for the
we have
foreseeable future.
we have Lala joining the show next week, so I'm really excited by that. So if you've been sitting here going, "Oh, I don't know," you do. You want to come hang out with me. So grab that link in the description and make sure that you join me for an upcoming episode. And we will see you all on the next stream. Jeff, jeffisfunny.com and stampede.social. We will see you on Jeff's streams too. Bye, everyone. Thanks, Jeff.